Okay, I'm going to share with you the exact training I would follow if I was trying to target a sub 3 hour marathon this year. If you're trying to go significantly faster in the marathon this year and you're looking to do that in the fall and you want the right training to do right now in order to develop your weaknesses and work on your strengths, this is likely to be the perfect approach for you. I'm Lee Grantham, a coach and professional ultra runner who went from running a marathon in 4 hours and 25 minutes to running a marathon in 2 hours and 21 minutes. And within an 11-month period, I went from 3 hours and 25 for the marathon to 2 hours and 37 minutes. That's a 48-minute jump. And I did that because I started to do the right things well. And if you want to make massive improvements in your marathon time, you want a serious breakthrough, and you want to start doing the right things consistently well and get them working for you, then book a call in the description and we can see if we're a coaching fit. We're going to take care of one of the main problems that runners, especially marathon runners, face. And that is that they've got into running, they're excited about running, and they jump into the marathon. And then they do 1, 2, possibly 3 marathons a year. It doesn't provide a lot of feedback as to how the training is working. And when you've not got that feedback, that constant feedback in terms of racing and testing yourself, you can't look back on what's working, what's not working, what to remove and what to do more of. And what that means for marathon runners is there's not a huge difference in the pace that they can run a kilometer in, 5 kilometers in, 10 kilometers in, and the entire distance of the marathon in. This approach is going to remove that weakness and actually build on it as a strength. We're going to focus on getting your 10K time to 38 to 39 minutes, the equivalent time that it needs to be in order for you to run a sub 3 hour marathon. So we're locking into that 350 to 355 per kilometer or 608 to 620 per mile. That's the pace that we're targeting for the 10K, and that's the pace that we're going to play around with the training sessions that I'm about to give you. Session 1, 24 times 250 meters with 60 seconds rest in between at 5K pace. Now, if you've recently done a 5K all out, that's your 5K pace, and that's what you're aiming at. But more importantly, you're aiming to control the session, to have the entire session from rep 1 to rep 24 under your control. What we're looking for is consistency over the reps. And this is much more to do with you building speed, you building pace and time at faster than 10K pace. But if this session initially needs to be run at 10K pace because that's currently your top end speed, that's how you gradually start, and then we can progress on from there. For a lot of marathon runners, their endurance, their engine is solid. They can run for 3 hours, 3.5 hours, not a problem. The top end speed, the pace that they can run for 5K or faster is not there, and it's something that we need to fill in, which is going to make marathon pace, 10K pace, half marathon pace, feel much easier to deal with. And ultimately what we're trying to do is get that 415 or 652 per mile feeling as comfortable as possible. Now that's a lot of reps, and they're short, sharp reps. So if that takes you 2 or 3 sessions to get it right for you to become comfortable at running those at 5K pace, then so be it. Let that pace come to you and don't rush the training. I'd have that session every week on a Wednesday so that you've got plenty of time before the Sunday long run to recover. Session 2. Now this will give you a really good idea at any point in your training exactly where you're at, but brilliant to do it at the start so you realize, okay, this is my start point, this is where I am, and I've got the idea in the future that I want to run 10K in 38 to 39 minutes, but I'm not yet there yet. And having that awareness that you're working towards something and having that patience not to chase a pace, it's a really good skill to have in running, because essentially you're where you're at right now. And so when we do these 6 times 1 kilometer with 60 seconds rest in between, ideally we would be at the pace 350 to 355 per kilometer. So we'd know that we can already handle 6 times a kilometer with 60 seconds rest at the pace that we want to run the 10K at. But as we've said, that's an idea, that's something that we want to do in the future. So if that pace at the moment is 4 minutes or 4:15 for each kilometer rep, that's where your start point is. And this will really help you out right now. A lot of us are going into the summer, it's getting hotter, and we don't know how to judge the reps. And we're looking at the heart rate graph getting out of control, and we're wondering if we're fit enough, if the training's working. those types of doubts are creeping in. When in actual fact, what we're aiming at for these 6 times 1 kilometer with 60 seconds rest in between is a nice, consistent heart rate graph that shows us that we can manage the effort across the 6 reps, and the heart rate is recovering quickly and to the point that we want it to come down to so that we can handle the next rep. That's exactly where we want to be. So at this point, pace is almost irrelevant. So a better description of this session would be 6 times 1 kilometer with 60 seconds rest in between at 10K effort. Session 3, and this is a specific long run, and it's something I always turn to understand, again, where you're at the moment, how fit you are, what you can get out of your body at this time. And it's a really efficient half marathon session. All we're gonna do is an 80-minute long run. 20 minutes easy on the start, 20 minutes easy on the end, and then 4 times 10 minutes at half marathon pace or half marathon effort in those reps. And in between, we're gonna do 2 minutes light jog recovery, slow as you possibly can, to keep this a continuous run. Now, what this will look like in reality is we're warming up, and then we're starting that easy 20 minutes, and we're getting into zone 2, but we're not forcing it. But then in the last 5 to 6 minutes of that easy section of 20 minutes, we're ramping the effort up so we're ready for those 4 times 10 minutes. If we're ramping the effort up and we get to the point, the pace and the effort that we want to hit for those 4 times 10 minutes, those reps are not going to be a shock to the system. It's something that we can handle, and we will see the consistency both over the peaks of the heart rate and the heart rate recovery. Now, what we're doing here with half marathon pace or half marathon effort, again, letting the pace come to you. So if this is 4 minutes per kilometer or 6:26 per mile, great. If it's 15 seconds or 25 seconds per mile slower, great. It's all about the effort and you being in control of the session so that you can finish it, feel like you could do another rep if pushed, and then you're hitting that consistency over the weeks and months. And remember, you're thinking in 13 weeks or 16 weeks, 20 weeks from now, I want to be that 38-minute 10K runner. That's all I care about. That's my focus. Session 4. Now, this is a great session no matter what you're training for, whether it's 5K, marathon, or ultra marathon. And again, it will always let you know where you're at. It's a great test and something that you can monitor over the weeks and months and even years. 2 times 5 kilometers with 60 seconds rest in between. So we're going to warm up and we're going to run each 5 kilometer rep at marathon pace or marathon effort. If that happens to be 4:15 per kilometer or 6:52 per mile, great, you're in a great place. If that's currently 5 minutes per kilometer or 8 minutes per mile, that's where you're at the moment. And again, it's more about consistently executing the reps, being in control of the session, and again, that consistency over the sessions, over the weeks, over the months, and over the training schedule. Now, let's say you start that session, you do the first rep, and you're into it, it's feeling like a long way, it's a long rep, and in that 60 seconds, you're not fully recovered, and then you go into the second rep, but it feels like already at kilometer 1, you're not going to be able to handle the session. What do you do? And that's a common question, because essentially what you've done is you've done the first 5 kilometers, and that's give you an indication of how hard you can push within these 5 kilometer reps. But then the second, you've not got it. And so what you can do is split that second 5 kilometers up. And that might be that initial 5 kilometers and then 60 seconds rest and then 5 times a kilometer. It might be 2 times 2.5 kilometers, or it might be 10 times 500 meters, but you're still getting that volume, that 10 kilometers at marathon pace. The beauty of this method is you can't get into trouble because you're going from where you're at the moment. You're working to effort and not to pace. If you strive for a pace that's an idea, that's something that you want to hit in the future, you're trying to force it. You're trying to bring that pace to you. You've got to work from where you're at right now and let that pace come to you. Once you start doing the right things consistently well, it's quite dramatic, the change. And to take 10 or 15% off your 10K time is actually quite easy, depending on your background in running. But what that does in turn is not just gets you training in the right way, which is extremely powerful, but also opens a whole new level as to what you're capable at for the other distances, and if you're watching this channel, your primary focus is probably the marathon. If you're currently at 3:20 or 3:30 for the marathon, then you're just 10 to 15% away from running that sub-3. The runners that I speak to are between 10% and 30% away from their dream marathon time. But it really doesn't matter how far away they are if they've been doing the wrong things. And they're putting all this effort in, 5 to 10 hours per week in order to get faster. And if you start then doing the right things consistently well, you're looking within a 3 to 6 month period at a completely different runner who is then capable of taking large amounts of time off their marathon time. I'll put a couple of recent success stories on the screen so that you can see just what's achievable if you've already got the work ethic, the discipline, and the dedication.